if you saw yourself as an asset, which is, I think is probably important, your ability to earn is the most valuable asset on the table. If you think about, there's loads of people that have talked about this and sort of like time millionaires and all the rest of it. But what's a young person got that somebody who's at 65 doesn't have? Time. And what does that mean? What are the conclusions from that? Well, your income is one of the most important things. So as a planner, would I say that somebody who's 23-year-old should be sacrificing more money to squirrel into a pension at the cost of maybe training, experience, life things that are going to generate an income later? I'm not sure if I would. And it's another key way to build wealth, because there is a direct correlation. Basically, if you don't have much income, it's very difficult from a planning perspective to work with that, is the truth. You can only work around the edges, and you can still get very good results compared to not planning effectively, but it's not going to make anywhere near the difference income does.
We did an episode on how to get a raise, and the specialist, I can't remember who it was, they came and told us. Wayne, oh, you're good with names. Wayne came and told us that you should change companies. Often you should get a bit more experience.
You've been following that advice.
I've been following that advice. But you leverage your experience so that if you change companies, you can then get a bigger salary, and then you stay there for a year or two, change companies, get a bigger salary. Whereas my parents, they both stayed in their jobs for 20, 30, 40, my mom's still a doctor, 40 years in the same profession or same company. But I feel like nowadays, Damien was in debt collection, and then now debt collection?
Debt management.
Collection, sounds a lot worse, debt collection. He was a heavy,
I worked in insolvency, so
yeah. So then he changed to YouTube. So I feel in our generation, people change jobs a lot more frequently than our parents, and therefore you can get more income by changing companies and changing directions.
Yeah. One thing, so, whenever we talk about things like time, investment, putting stuff in, people always say, I don't have any money. And I know you've caveated before, but I want to say to people that when we're talking about things like income focused, time is an asset you can spend. Correct. And it's one that doesn't require capital in the sense of pounds or dollars or whatever your domestic currency is. And sometimes if someone's sat there going, I can't invest, I can't put any money into my pension, but then they can spend their time on generating an income, can't they? And that's what I did. I don't think people realize that I think my YouTube channel cost me about £100 to get started, to the point where it outran my job, where I was on 100 grand a year. That was the investment, but the time investment was 50 hours a week, around my full-time job.
Yeah.
So if we view our time as an asset like we view money, we can spend time to increase the amount of money we earn, and then we can pour that into an asset-focused approach.
Yeah, exactly. And these are not mutually exclusive. These are just important to be aware of the levers. And I did exactly the same. I used to do music, and then I kind of fell into the advice profession. And for the first kind of 5 years in advice, or actually the first decade journey, one of the biggest investments I had was me. Was basically getting more qualified, working my way up, and it makes things much easier if you can do that. Not obviously everyone can, but if you can, it's a lever.
I know you're not an expert on this, but do you have any advice or personal experience on some of the best ways to improve earnings?
Yeah, I think ultimately you should have a look at yourself being one of your biggest investments. And what you can do practically, I guess, is you can have a look at your current job and where the ceiling limit is. I think that's a really practical thing to do first, as far as, okay, where is my trajectory going to be for my career? Is it likely that I'm going to get uplifts and so forth? And that probably should be a conversation to have. I know you've done a fantastic episode on how to get a pay rise. It should be a regular conversation to have with your employer if you're taking an employed route. But then that's probably going to give you a key bit of information which you can use, which is, okay, what is my likely peak earnings? What's the great outcome look like? From there, you can then make a decision about whether you're in the right industry for a mixture of reasons. Lifestyle can really play a part. And then you can consider whether you want to pivot or double down where you are.
Yeah, if you've got no money though, and you're sat there saying, none of these conversations for me, they are. And I just want to stress this point, you've got time, and you can use that time to increase your earnings and have that focus.
This clip was from an interview with George Agan, financial advisor, all about how to build wealth. For the full interview, click here.